Within a matter of minutes, our street had transformed into a spectacle of red and blue lights, flashing and flickering in the night. Nosy neighbors stumbled out of their houses, wearing robes and slippers and confused faces. For obvious reasons, both Dennis and Liz remained inside their home. The two officers that showed up, who I recognized as Eder and Devour, seemed unreasonably calm as we explained the situation, paranoia and fear still pumping through our veins. "I want that meat tested," I kept saying. "It came from a human." "I know it did." "Easy now," said Eder. "We're gonna get it all bagged up. Don't you worry about it." Meanwhile, Devour asked pointed questions at my wife. "Did you actually see the intruder, ma'am?" "No, I didn't," she admitted. "But I believe my husband. And obviously, someone was here. How else did that plate get there?" Officer Devour simply shrugged, as if he didn't have an answer, but didn't need one. "I don't know, but we're gonna put this all down in the report." "Enough with the reports," I snapped. "I want Dennis arrested for trespassing. Right fucking now. Unless you have some type of surveillance cameras, we can't do that," said Eder. A few years ago, Carm had brought up the idea of potentially getting some of those Ring cameras to put around our house, but I dismissed it because nothing bad ever happened in our neighborhood. What a fucking idiot. The cops were just about to leave for the night when my gun fell out from my waistband and toppled into the dirt. I'm not quite sure why that made me nervous, since I'd acquired it via a legal and legit process. But as I mumbled sorry and stuffed it back into the waistband of my pajama pants, they both shared a terrible look, as if I was the one who was now in trouble. "Sir, do you have documentation for that weapon?" asked Devour. "Of course," I said. "It's in the house." I ran upstairs to my office, grabbed the papers from my desk, and brought them back down to be inspected by the officers. Eder and Devour took the packet, then went back to the cruiser where they seemed to search for something on their little computer, which caused them to mumble a lot and shake their heads. When they finally came back over, what they said blew my mind. "We're going to need to confiscate the gun." "What? Why?" "The store failed to run the appropriate background check. Also, a couple of key forms are missing." "No," I sighed. "You can't take it away from me. It's just until things get patched up, sir." I went apeshit. "You're doing this on purpose," I screamed. "This isn't right." Carm was tugging at my sleeve, trying to get me to calm down. "Ryan, just give them the fucking gun." I didn't want to do that. But it wasn't until Eder and Devour both placed a hand on their own weapons that I considered complying. I mean, they were uniformed officers. They could have me arrested, or worse, shoot me. What the hell was I supposed to do? I handed the heavy, metal weapon over to them, before realizing that I was now completely and totally unable to protect myself. The sun soon began to rise and we hadn't slept. After the police left, Carm and I did a sweep of our entire house, but of course, we found nothing and no one. So we sat at the kitchen table, still worked up, still terrified for our lives. "You have work soon," I reminded Carm. "Fuck that," she said. "I'm not going." It was quiet for a while. Then, I proposed an idea. "I think we should find somewhere else to stay. Just for a few nights. We can try the motel, just past the highway." The last time I'd driven by that motel, I remember thinking how dirty and disgusting it looked. Maybe we'd get bed bugs or something, but hey, that was better than being eaten. "Okay," she finally said. "I'm gonna pack a bag." We arrived at the motel in the early morning and paid the guy at the front counter. We probably looked absolutely insane. Two crazy people, dark bags under their eyes, showing up at a motel with two backpacks at 6:38 in the morning on a random Tuesday. But there we were. The room was, in fact, dirty. It was also small and smelled like rotten eggs. But that didn't matter. We both collapsed onto the hard mattress and slept for almost 15 hours straight. It was the first time we'd felt safe in days. Our new neighbors were no longer our new neighbors. That night, after the mini coma, I went across the street and grabbed a bunch of food from Taco Bell and Carm, and I feasted as if we hadn't eaten in years. To be clear, I asked for everything vegetarian style, which is a thing they do, apparently. Afterward, we each took a turn using the shitty shower in the shitty bathroom, then returned to the hard bed. I turned the TV on and flipped through the channels while I considered our remaining options. "I think the police are involved," I said, knowing how that sounded. "Ryan, think about it. That's why they took the gun. Or, the store really did fuck up the paperwork." I shook my head. "No, they didn't." There was a long, pregnant pause. "So what are you saying?" she asked. "That there's some cannibalistic cult that wants to eat us and only us. Because we're that special." "Not just us," I said. "My guess is they've been doing this for quite some time. We aren't the first and won't be the last." Carm went silent for a while before saying, "I'm going back to bed." I got up, filled 2 dusty glasses with water from the sink and placed one on each nightstand. When I took a sip, my instinct was to spit the liquid out, but not because of the taste. It was more so the fact that the temperature of the stuff was piping hot. "I'm gonna go get some ice," I said. "When I come back, I'll knock 3 times and you'll know it's me. Don't open the door for anyone else, okay?" "Sure," she said, though I could tell she considered my plan a needless precaution. The motel was eerily quiet as I walked down the outdoor corridor, finally arriving at the ice machine. When the clear cubes shot out into the bucket, the machine made a terrible noise, almost like the sound of an animal dying. When I got back to the room, I knocked 3 times. Then, I waited. Silence. Bang, bang, bang. This time, I pounded the door with the ball of my fist. Still nothing. I began to panic. Calm, I shouted, slamming the wood now. Open the door. Maybe she's just in the bathroom, I thought. She'll open up any second. But she didn't. And that's when I knew I had to break down the door. I'd actually done research into this for a book once. I knew exactly where to kick the door and with which part of my foot, which is why it only took me 2 tries before the door cracked open and I rushed inside. Calm, my heart was racing as I looked around. I'd never been more scared. The bed was empty and the sheets were now a mess, as if someone had torn them off haphazardly. I ran across the room and into the bathroom, and that's when I saw the window, wide open, ripped curtains now blowing in the warm night air. I stuck my head out the window and peered out into a dimly lit parking lot. Calm, I screamed out into the void. Then, in the distance, I saw something. A black and white car, speeding off into the night. It disappeared down the boulevard. I almost threw up as the revelation hit me. That was a police car. I instinctively almost called 911 before realizing I couldn't do that. There was now no one left to help me, not even my wife. I was alone. They had taken her. Soon, they'd be tasting her. And I was next.